So the plan today is to head into town and shoot some nice B-roll with my Fuji X-T5, as I didn't get to use that last video. I've only got the 23mm lens with me, but just trying to keep it simple this time around. So yeah, I want to shoot some nice B-roll, and then I want to find some place quieter than this road to sit down and have a bit of a chat about starting a new YouTube channel and how daunting that can be, how difficult that can be, but also potentially what kind of advantages of that there are. So yeah, let's shoot some B-roll first and then find someplace quiet. So I've started a new channel and we're right at the beginning, and what I want to talk about this week is just how daunting that can be to have no subs, no views. You put your first video out and nobody really watches it. Second comes out, same thing. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more after that. And it can be, like I said, it can be discouraging, it can be daunting, it can be difficult. And it's, for me, it's kind of about mindset on this. It's about the fact that I have to turn up every week, that I have to know that things will improve. And it's hard to think that way sometimes because, you know, we kind of all live very much real time at the moment. I mean, obviously, but I mean, you know, like it's so easy to get caught up in checking views, checking subs, checking every analytical data available to us. And that doesn't just apply to YouTubers. That's like, you can strap something to your wrist now that tracks everything going on in your body. Like, it's just a way of life now. And it's just trying to get out of that mindset a little bit and know that things will happen in the future. But yeah, to start with, it's depressing as hell when you look at those counters, at those analytics, and you're like, man, how am I ever going to get anyone to watch anything I do? So yeah, I just want to share a quick story. So back in 2018, I want to say, I wanted to do gig photography. I'd never done gig photography before. I'd done it once, but that was just messing around. But I really wanted to get into gig photography. And it went against kind of everything of who I am. Like the idea of going to crowded places and taking these photos amongst all these people and interacting with bands and managers and people running the venues and security and all these other things. Like, that's not who I am. So I emailed a guy who was running an event at a local place, the Wedgwood Rooms, and kind of said, can I come along and take some photos? And he was like, yeah, sure, like, absolutely, no problem, which was nice. Still work with him to this day. And yeah, I went along. I kind of sheepishly took some photos and gradually moved closer and closer to the stage and switched lenses and kind of caught the eye of the band a little bit, and they would kind of, you know, acknowledge the fact that I was there, so kind of get some cool photos. And it just went very well, and I wasn't expecting that. Like, it was just very much out of my comfort zone. It was just something I wanted to do but didn't know if I could do, didn't know if I had the nerve to do it. And it just, yeah, it felt very awkward, but I put myself out there and got some decent photos and made, you know, some good contacts early on. And then I came back, you know, the guy running the event asked me, do I want to come back to the next 3 shows, as it was like a kind of tournament thing, I guess. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I came back to them and took even more, met even more of the bands. And then before I know it, like some of the bands were asking if I could come to their gig and take photos, they'd pay me. So I was doing this for free at first because I didn't know what I was doing, so there's no way I was going to charge it. And yeah, and then like went to their gigs, got paid for that, and then got invited along to day festivals. And then bands would ask me if I wanted to do promo shoots for them, so I'd do those. So that was paid work. And from this became like this freelance career where I do promo shoots and music videos and shoot live events and all kinds of things. And up until COVID happened, it was, it was going very well until the local band scene was annihilated for a few years, which is when I kind of switched more back to writing. But the point being that I started with nothing, not even the ability to know whether I could do this or not. Like, it wasn't a case of like, I know I can do this, I just got stuff. And, I didn't even know I could do it. I didn't even know my camera was capable. Like, I was shooting with a Fuji X-T3, so crop sensor camera, less ability to get the light in, which ended up defining my style pretty well, but that's a whole other video, which I'm sure I will do at some point. But yeah, like I said, the point really is that I had no idea if I could do this. I'm starting from zero, I had no contacts, no proof of concept, like no nothing. I just turned up with my camera, was willing to give it a go, found a way to get an opportunity to, albeit free, but that was fine. Like I said, it was more for my benefit than anyone else's. If the photos turned out rubbish, then it didn't matter. And yeah, I kind of look at that as a good example for this YouTube channel now, that I am starting again. I'm starting from a blank slate, but I know if I put my mind to something, I can do it. And this is the next thing that I'm trying. Well, this is the thing that I want to try for the next 15, 20 years. So there's no way I'm giving up on it straight away, even if nobody's watching. That story about how I started my gig photography career, really can apply to quite a few different things in my life. Like the first time I wrote a screenplay, I just quit my job to write this screenplay, also because I hated my job at the time, and had another one lined up. I had a month in between, so I had a month to write a feature film. And yeah, it was daunting, like looking at a blank page thinking, what the hell am I going to do here? But yeah, I ended up writing it. It was rubbish, but I got the work done. Same with traveling solo for the first time, just going abroad. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I had to get a bus and a train to get to the city centre to find my hotel. You just kind of do it. And again, I think that applies to most things, is you just got to turn up. And that's really my intention for this YouTube channel, is to turn up every single week and make the best I can and get better and better and better over the weeks, months, years, however long. And I think that's the right attitude. Like, it is daunting. I am nervous. It's, I have no idea whether anyone's ever going to watch any of these videos, but I'm learning stuff making them. I feel like I'm going to become a much better photographer, a much better videographer. My editing's already kind of improved in certain areas. So I think the idea of just showing up is already beneficial. And then hopefully later down the road, it will be even better. I feel like one of the key things with anything that's incredibly daunting is to not overthink it. With the gig photography, like, the gigs happened really quickly after that first one. I was just straight on to the next. I didn't have time to think about it. And then, like, the first time I ever done a music video, I was contemplating for a while, am I good enough? Can I do one? I've made two before, but they were so simple. And, can I do something with a bit more energy and all the rest of it? And then this band I'd been kind of photographing a little bit, they phoned me up and they were like, hey, we got this place in 4 hours time. Like, can we shoot an MV there? And I was like, I have no idea. Like, let's just give it a go and see. So we went there and yeah, shot this music video. And it was fantastic. And it led to me getting 3 or 4 other jobs shoot music videos for other bands like shortly afterwards. If I had thought about that for a second, I think I would have been like, 4 hours? Are you kidding? Like, what's the light? Like, what's the camera like? Is my battery's even charged? What's the proof of concept? Like, what are we doing? Like, but instead it was just like, yeah, let's just turn up and see what there is and see how it goes. And that led to loads more opportunities. And that's weirdly how things work. While it can be daunting starting a new YouTube channel, or anything in life for that matter, I think it's important to remember a couple of things. First off, if you're starting a channel on something, the chances are you're pretty knowledgeable about that subject. Like, you might not know how to film it, or get good audio. I'm always going to struggle with audio and things like that, but you're going to know about the subject. You're going to be able to talk about it, and people out there are going to want to listen. It doesn't matter what the subject is. It can be absolutely anything. There will always be an audience, and it's important to remember that. And the more you know about that subject, then the more interesting you're going to be to that audience. Secondly, and this goes against how people behave nowadays, but it is okay to fail. It is okay to fall down. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay for something not to be perfect. In fact, it's better for it not to be perfect, because it means you are always learning about stuff. Within the first 2 videos, there's tons of things I would change, and I'm learning that. And hopefully this video will look a little bit better, and the next one will look a little bit better, and so on. So it is daunting. It is kind of crazy to think, how am I ever going to get people to watch anything that I'm interested in? Like, why me? You can think that way, but there is an audience out there. I've got to believe that. And also, you got to do it for yourself. You've got to be learning every video. You've got to be making stuff that excites you, that has some value to you. I've made stuff that I'll put out in future videos that isn't out on the channel yet, where I've just done little cinematic videos, and they're just literally there to help me grade, to help me edit a little bit better, to teach me a few things, and hopefully other people can learn from them as well. But their primary function was to help me grow as a videographer, as a cinematographer, as an editor, as a color grader. And so, yeah, there's plenty of value there for that. And like I said, hopefully other people enjoy it too when I show them. So yeah, I think it's just a case of not getting down. Like, just don't concern yourself with the stats, with who's watching, who's not. Just make the stuff that you like. Don't be discouraged. Don't be daunted. Don't be scared. Don't be fearful. Just put yourself out there, and you'll get some people that'll give you shit for it. It's going to happen, but you're going to learn so much as well, and you get a chance to put those videos out there and view that growth, which I think can be incredibly interesting and important. And my last point, which I have to remind myself, having lived the life I have, is I don't want to go back to retail. Like, I would feel nervous doing any job at the moment. Anything that I have to do, I feel nervous about. I feel overwhelmed about. So I might as well have that feeling doing something that I really want to do and love doing, rather than something that I absolutely hate. So yeah, that's my mindset.